Hello everyone, welcome to Vinyāsa Yoga. My name is Jackie. I'm going to be your instructor today. This is going to be a 60-minute yoga class where we are going to be focusing on moving through a variety of poses. We're also going to be focusing on mindfulness and really taking these next 60 minutes to clear our minds from any outside thoughts or worries and focus on ourselves within. So I hope that you join me through this next hour. If you are in your home, you'll want to make sure that you have a yoga mat or a towel or a rug or blanket or something that you can practice on today to help kind of protect our knees and our hands and joints when we're on the ground. Additionally, you have the option to add a couple of props, and those props would be a blanket or a pillow if you'd like. So you'll notice I'm sitting on a block right now, and if it's comfortable for you, we're going to start in a seated position. If you want to grab a pillow or a blanket, you can sit on that. And then additionally, like you can see, I have this block. We're going to use this as a prop today. So if you have something at home similar, or maybe a hardcover book, that would be great to have near you during class, especially as we get into more of our working flows where we're needing that prop potentially for some specific poses. So that being said, feel free to take a moment to grab those things, and when you're ready, join me in a seated, easy pose on the ground. And if it's comfortable for you, you can sit on a block or a book or a blanket, whatever works for you. But we're just going to be sitting nice and tall, hands on our knees, elbows underneath our shoulders, and legs are going to be crossed at the shins. So right here, right away, we're going to work on centering, where we really bring our mind within ourselves and start to clear those thoughts away that we've been dealing with throughout the day. And so if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes and just start breathing in and out through your nose. We want some nice deep belly breaths here. So our breath coming from that belly, feeling it inflate as we inhale and deflate as we exhale. Using this time to find ourselves on the mat. So arrive to class now. And while we're here, I'm going to present our intention for today. If you came to class with an intention already in mind, and you want to keep that on your focus while you're participating in class, that is wonderful. I encourage you to do that. But if you'd like to borrow an intention from me, then our intention is going to be presence. And an awesome thing about presence in yoga is that yoga allows us the opportunity to be present within ourselves. So it's very easy throughout our day to let our anxieties and our worries of anything going on to get into our way and kind of clog our headspace up. And so if we can take this moment to really be present with ourselves on the mat, I think you'll notice that after class today, hopefully you feel mental clarity leaving your mat today, and hopefully a little bit less anxiety, feeling more prepared to take on the rest of your week. So again, we're sitting here with our eyes potentially closed, breathing in and out through our nose, and I'm going to read us a quote that will hopefully set the scene for this intention. And the quote is by Tobe Hansen, and it goes like this: "If you feel anxiety or depression, you are not in the present. You are either anxiously projecting the future or depressed and stuck in the past. The only thing you have any control over is the present moment. Simple breathing exercises can make us calm and present instantly." And so we're going to keep that in mind as we practice today. And like he mentioned, simple breathing exercises, we're going to do one of those now to further center us into class. So I encourage you, we're going to practice our Dirga Pranayama, or a 3-part breath. If you can, place one hand over your chest and one hand over your belly to assist you in this exercise. We're going to first start by inhaling air into our belly. So that hand that's over your belly, we should feel that air inflate. Our belly's inflating. As we continue, we feel that air come up into our chest and finally up into our clavicle. So really filling our lungs fully. Hold that breath at the top for just a moment, and then exhale in reverse order. Exhale through the clavicle, the chest, and then the belly. And then we're going to do the same thing in order. Inhale through the belly, up through the chest, and then finally the clavicle, and exhale in reverse order. Clavicle, chest, and belly. I'm going to give you a few moments to practice that at your own breathing pace. Ensuring we're inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Taking this time to let go of all of our worries in the outside world, any judgment that maybe we placed on ourselves coming into this practice today, and just meeting yourself where you're at. Go ahead and take one more full breath. And when you're ready, I will meet you in a neutral spine, nice and tall, with our hands again on our knees. Once you're there, we're going to go ahead and start to bring some movement into our body, starting with some neck rolls. So when you're ready, slowly bringing your chin down to your chest. We'll bring our ear to shoulder on one side, rolling our neck around, opposite ear and shoulder meet, and then chin comes to chest again. So taking some slow neck circles. Again, inhaling and exhaling. The words Vinyāsa Yoga, so Vinyāsa translates into breath to movement. So our goal today is going to be to match our breath to our movement. When you're ready, you can take those neck circles the opposite direction. So you'll notice in a lot of our poses today that I'll mention an inhale or an exhale with each movement. And so I encourage you to use those cues and match your own breath to your own body's movement. Good. One more head roll, and then we'll meet at a neutral spine. Once you're there, we'll start with some wrist rolls. So just slowly taking your wrists, rolling them in one direction, and then we can take them the opposite direction. Good. So from here, we're going to do some seated cat-cow poses. So what I encourage you to do is put your hands on your knees. Inhaling, we bring ourselves to cow pose. So we're actually going to press our chest forward. We can feel our shoulder blades squeezing, and as we exhale, we round that spine out, chin comes to our chest. This is our cat pose. So we inhale cow, chest expands, and exhale cat pose. Back arches. Match your breath to your movement here. One more cat, one more cow. Good. Take a moment to find any type of organic movement that you might need today. So maybe some circles around or stretching side to side. And once you're ready, we're going to find ourselves in tabletop. So if you were sitting on anything today, that can get set to the side. And I'm going to face the side so that you can see me. Feel free to face whatever way helps you see me best. But we're going to be in this tabletop hands and knees position. So our wrists should be right underneath our shoulders and our hips should be right above our knees. So we're all aligned here. And from here, we'll take a couple more cat-cows in this position now. So we know we inhale cow, our belly drops to the ground, our gaze can look up in front of us, and then we exhale into cat. Again, chin comes to our chest, shoulder blades separate. Let's do a couple more of those at your own pace. Inhaling cow and exhaling cat. And when you're ready, we'll meet at a neutral spine. So let's start to warm our spine up a little bit, bring some movement and strengthening in here. We're gonna do our spinal balances or bird dogs. And what I'd like you to do is take one hand and reach it forward, like you're gonna shake someone's hand. From here, what we'll do is we'll take the opposite foot and bring it behind us. So option number one is just to let that toe touch the ground, finding balance here. Or if we want to take it up a notch, we go ahead and lift that foot, keeping the foot flexed. We want to find some balance in our hips here. So really thinking about equal distribution of weight in that hand and knee that are on the ground still. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring hand and knee to the mat. We'll do the other side this time. So reach that opposite hand out like you're going to shake someone's hand, and then foot comes back. Either option to keep this kickstand here or lift it up. Again, finding equal balance between that resting hand and knee. I suppose they're not really resting, they're doing a lot of work right now. But thinking about stabilizing through our core. Holding for 3, 2, and 1, rest. Beautiful. Let's do this one more time. This time I'm going to add a challenge for you if you'd like to take it. So first hand, first leg, they reach back out. We can either hold here, or your challenge is going to be to inhale, we extend like we're doing. Exhale, we're going to bring elbow to knee. Inhale, we extend. Exhale, we tuck elbow to knee. So again, further warming up those abdominals here. One more. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. And when you're ready, rest that hand and knee on the ground. Let's do the other side here. Reaching hand out. Foot comes out. We find our equal balance before we move it all. Inhale, extend. And exhale, crunch. Inhale to extend. And exhale, crunch. One more. Inhale to extend. And exhale, crunch. Last time we inhale, and then we rest. Beautiful. From here, we are going to find puppy dog pose. So what that looks like, if you know what child's pose looks like, it's something similar. We're going to reach our hands out to the front of our mat, and we're going to sit back, our weight into the back end of our body. But unlike child's pose where we'd sit back on our heels, we're going to keep our hips lifted. So right here, you're going to start to feel a stretch through our arms, through these latissimus dorsi muscles, and forehead can rest on the ground. So we should feel this nice deep side stretch through our arms, through our side body, taking a few breaths here. And when you're ready, we're going to find ourselves in child's pose. So with child's pose, our big toes can be touching. We're going to hand tiptoe our way back so that our weight is now in our heels. And our hips can be separated a bit. Forehead rests on our mat. And we're reaching out in front of us, but resting those forearms on the mat. So child's pose is a great recovery pose for us. We're going to be doing a lot of what you'll hear me refer to as like vinyasa flows. And if at any point things are starting to get a little bit too intense for what you're looking for today, I encourage you to bring yourself into child's pose, recenter yourself, find your presence, recover, and then join us back in practice. So from here, let's move through tabletop into our first downward dog. So we're in tabletop. We're going to tuck those back toes underneath us and lift our hips towards the ceiling. So this is our downward dog position. We find some equal distribution if we can between those hands and feet. And from here, it's our first downward dog. So I encourage you to keep those knees bent. Our body's not quite warmed up yet, so it might not feel like the most comfortable pose for you right now. But right here, I'm going to encourage you to find some integrity in our spine. So you'll see, hopefully, that your spine is straight, and bending those knees can help with that. If you feel warm and you're ready, you can straighten those legs and press those heels down towards the mat. But while we're here, let's start to walk the dog. So we're going to bend one knee at a time, and the knee that is not bent, so the leg that is straight, you're going to feel a stretch on your calf muscle. So take some time, feel that stretch in each leg before switching. Good, few more here, and when you're ready, we'll meet at a neutral downward dog. From here, let's look between the hands, still bending the knees here, preparing to tiptoe those feet to meet the hands when you're ready. We'll find a forward fold here, let that upper body hang over our hips. If it feels good, rocking maybe side to side, a little sway here, rounding the back out, finding some stretch in our lower back and our hamstrings and calves here. And when you're ready, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time. We'll meet in mountain pose, which our mountain pose looks like this. Our big toes are touching, our heels are maybe slightly separated, and we're nice and tall, shoulders down and back. Palms are facing away from us, okay? And then we're nice and tall, taking some breaths here. So I'm actually gonna face the side here for our next part of class where you can see me, because there'll be some side angles that you'll want to see my posture for. So find yourself in mountain pose, take a breather here. This is a great time to grab some water or recenter back on your intention. So finding presence on your mat. Maybe you noticed through this warm-up that some outside thoughts were coming into your head, and so finding this time again to reconnect with your breath, find yourself back on the mat. Okay, so from here we're going to work through Sun Salutation A, or Surya Namaskar A, and we're in mountain pose. We're nice and tall, ready to move. The goal here is going to bring some warmth into our body. So from here, let's inhale our arms up high, reaching up to the sky. We exhale, swan diving down. So back stays nice and flat, knees are bent. Once I'm about halfway, I can let that upper body fall, holding here in forward fold. From here, we'll take an inhale, halfway lift, so hands can come to shins or thighs. We want to find a nice flat back here, okay? So head's in neutral alignment with our spine. We're looking down. Inhaled here, we exhale, forward fold. While we're doing that, we place those hands to the mat, knees are bending, we walk our feet out into a high plank. So right here, wrists are underneath our shoulders. We have a nice flat line through our spine. We're gonna inhale, shifting our weight forward, and then if we'd like, we can rest those knees on the ground. Exhale, slowly lower. This is called a chaturanga. We wanna move slowly and our elbows wanna be close to our sides. From here, let's do our first baby cobra. So we inhale, slowly lifting our chest just right to here, and then we exhale, place one hand to the mat or the floor. Again, baby cobra, inhale, baby lift. Exhale, place that other cheek to the other side. This time, full cobra or up dog. So we want to lift just a bit higher, use those hands, press into the mat. Here would be our cobra. If we want to take this to up dog, we lift those thighs off the mat. And from here, let's bring ourselves into downward dog. So tucking those toes, lifting the hips towards the sky. Downward dog, we'll hold here for 3 breaths. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Trying not to let those shoulders hunch up towards our ears. On that 4th inhale, let's look between the hands, bend at the knees, and tiptoe those feet to meet the hands, forward fold. On your next inhale, we'll lift, halfway lift right here. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, we reverse swan dive up, finding ourselves at that up tall position, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, mountain pose, Tadasana. So from here, we'll do this 2 more times, and we'll move a little bit quicker. So we move slow the first time. This time we're really gonna match our breath to our movement, ideally 1 breath per movement. So finding yourself at the top of your mat, we'll take it from our inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive down, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, we place those hands on the mat, step to our plank. Inhale at the top of our mat, shift that weight forward. If you'd like to drop the knees, you can. Slowly exhale and lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Here in downward dog, we're gonna spend 3 breaths. So recenter yourself, find those 3 breaths, deep breaths here. If we need to keep those knees bent, that is a great option. On your 4th inhale, looking between the hands, bending the knees, we step those feet to meet the hands. If you'd like the option to hop them, you can. We inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reverse swan dive up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, mountain pose or Tadasana. 1 more time here, inhaling, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, place those hands, step or hop the feet to our high plank. Inhaling at the top, shift that weight forward. Exhale, slowly lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths. On that 4th inhale, we look between the hands, walking or hopping the feet to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, reverse swan dive. And exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Beautiful. Take a moment here. Do a body scan. So find yourself in mountain pose. Maybe close your eyes for a second and think about how your body feels for just a moment. You should feel a little bit warmer. Grab some water if you need it. We're going to move into our Surya Namaskar B, which is going to be our main working component, I suppose, of class today. We're really going to bring a lot more heat into the body. There's going to be some balancing postures as we layer some more poses on, so know that that's coming. If you have a block or a book, starting at this point is where we're going to be using it. So grab it, have it near you, and I will meet you at the top of the mat. So I'm actually going to face you all for this next part, so that way you can see me the whole time. If there's anything maybe you're missing while we're in different poses, I'll try to explain it the best I can. So just know that I will face you from here on. Big toes are touching, heels are separated, mountain pose. Take a breath. Inhale through the nose. And exhale through the nose. We're going to find ourselves in chair pose or Utkatasana. So as we inhale, we're going to sit our weight back into our heels and bend at the knees. So almost like we're doing a squat movement, but with our legs closed. The correct hands here, you have a few options. Option 1, hands can be on your hips, chest is lifted. Option 2, hands can be in prayer or heart center. Or option 3, they're up over our head. Now, if your hands are over your head and you're noticing your shoulders don't really they feel pretty tight, you can open those hands up, okay? So choose what works for you today. We inhaled into chair pose. From here, we are gonna find a twist before we move on. So inhale, spine nice and tall. We're still bending at the legs. Exhale, we're gonna twist towards our right. So here, we wanna keep those hands that are maybe at heart center. Meet me here at heart center if you're not already. They're towards our chest. And look at your knees. Does your left knee, is it poking out farther than your right? And if so, go ahead and adjust that. Spine is straight. We find that twist in our spine. We haven't done too much twisting today, so if it feels a little rough, that's okay. When you're ready, slowly untwist. We'll do an inhale to bring ourselves out of chair for a moment. Stretch those legs, maybe bend them here. And when you're ready, sit back into our chair pose. We'll only do this once for class where we twist, so know that this is the only time, the longest you'll sit in chair. Inhale, lengthen that spine. And when you're ready, exhale, twist towards your left. Spine is straight. Let's do that check of our knees again. So look at those knees. Is the right this time poking out farther than the left? If so, make that adjustment. Inhaling, lengthening our spine, and exhaling, finding maybe a deeper twist. One more breath here. When you're ready, untwisting. Inhale in chair right here. Exhale, forward fold. Good. You can straighten those legs, maybe shake them out a little bit. We were in chair pose for quite some time. We'll only do that one time with the twist, but we will find chair pose quite a bit throughout this next working phase. When you're ready, on the next inhale, let's take a half lift. Remember, head's in neutral alignment with the spine. Exhale, place those hands to the mat, Chaturanga Dandasana. So finding our Vinyāsa here, shifting forward, inhaling. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, we find Cobra or Up Dog. And exhale, tuck those toes, Downward Dog. So from here, we are going to find a three-legged dog position. So we'll take our right leg here and lift it high. With this, we want to try our best to balance our hips out. So if you notice you're opening a hip like this, you'll want to recenter yourself. From here, inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to bring that knee through, stepping into a lunge. Right away, we'll bring ourselves up into Warrior One. So with that, you can kind of take an eye, look at me for a second. Back foot, we drop that heel to the ground so the whole back foot is on the ground. Foot's at a 45-degree angle, okay? So we want our heels aligned, nice straight line. Our hips are going to be pivoting towards the front. So we want this right leg, the hip, to be pulling back, the left leg, hip, to be pulling forward. So we're kind of trying to center ourselves. Hands either at our hips, heart center, or lifted above our head. Let's take 2 breaths here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose. On that third inhale, lift nice and tall. Exhale, we frame our feet with our hands. Step that leg back. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, take that vinyasa. Downward dog. Take a breath here. So when you hear me say take a vinyasa, that's really the movement. What I'm referring to is from our plank, lowering down chaturanga, upward dog or cobra, and then into downward dog. From here, lifting the left leg high this time, finding that balance. Again, if you shifted or opened those hips, keep them closed, nice aligned hips. When you're ready, inhale here. We exhale, bring that leg through and find our warrior 1. So hopefully we can move a little bit quicker this time, but check your alignment here. We're gonna find this pose quite a few times. So heel to heel, that back foot is down, 45-degree angle, front foot, toes point forward, and we center those hips. Finding a breath here. Inhale and lift tall. Exhale, frame that foot. Take your vinyasa if you'd like. We'll do quite a few of these. So if you're getting tired, your body needs a little bit of recovery, that is the time to find child's pose, or you can meet us right in downward facing dog. From here, bend the knees, look towards the hands, walk or hop those feet to meet the hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. We're gonna inhale the chair pose. Sit back in those heels. Exhale, stand it up, mountain pose. Very nice job. We're gonna go through that 2 more times. Each time we'll add a little bit on. So we'll keep layering until we get to our more advanced layer. And then we'll pretty much be on the road to cool down. So find yourself at the top of your mat. Take a moment to recenter if you need it. And when you're ready, inhale, arms overhead. Lift tall. Exhale, forward fold. We forgot chair pose, but I think we're going to be okay with that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, step or hop back to plank. Take your vinyasa here. Meet you in downward dog. This time we are going to start by lifting the left leg high. So take that left foot, lift it into the air for a moment. When you're ready, exhale, bring that hand or that foot in between your hands, frame it, and lift to warrior 1. Remember that back heel is down. We're centering those hips the best we can. Inhale here. Exhale, we open warrior 2. So warrior 2, few adjustments. You'll see I bent a little bit further into this front leg. A few other things. Our back foot pivots more towards a 90-degree angle, and we can shift our front foot over a little bit so that we actually have our front heel aligned with our back big toe or the ball of our foot. Hands come out, and we're here, warrior 2. So really leaning in, finding that bend in our front knee. This should be a very active pose. From here, we're gonna find our extended side angle. So if you know where to go, I'll meet you there. If you're gonna move slowly with me into it, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take our front arm, maybe rest the forearm onto our thigh, okay? This back arm, we're gonna shift our weight forward. Back arm's gonna come up and lift. So right here, feet didn't move at all, but my torso is now shifting towards the side of the room, our right side, and really trying to open up that torso. You have the option, if you have a prop here, instead of resting our forearm on our thigh, we can have our hand on a prop or on the ground, same pose, but now both arms are extended. Completely up to you. Props are really to assist us in yoga. If you need to use a prop, It doesn't mean you're not as good at yoga or anything like that. It's just a tool to assist us into postures a little bit more easily and more effectively. So from here, we've been here for a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and lift. Using our core, we lift our body up. We're gonna find reverse warrior. So here, my front arm now is lifted up towards the sky. My back arm is either resting on my thigh or bound behind my back. And again, lifting that chest towards the sky. Taking an inhale here. And as we exhale, let's cartwheel those hands to frame the feet. Step the front foot back. Option to take your vinyasa. Or we meet in downward dog. Notice here, I'm taking my vinyasa, but my knees are on the ground. That's totally fine. Meeting in downward facing dog. We had our left leg lifted first, so this time through, we're gonna lift the right leg. When you're ready, bring that right leg through, warrior one. Keeping my prop near me for when I need it. Foot's at 45 degrees here. Holding here, we inhale tall. Exhale, open up warrior two. So that front foot should shift over a little bit. Our back foot pivots maybe closer to 90 degrees. Both arms straight forward and behind us. Gaze can look over that front arm. Remember, we take a little bit of a deeper bend in that front foot. From here, let's find our extended side angle. So we bring that front forearm to our front thigh. We lift our back arm up towards the ceiling or maybe over our head, reaching forward as well. We open that chest to the sky. Hips, we still want them shifted towards the front. So it's kind of like we're finding this twist here. It's very active in our obliques or our side abdominal muscles. Taking one more breath here. Remember, you have the option to use that block or book. When you're ready, using our core, we lift and transition reverse warrior. So that back hand can be bound behind or on our back thigh, and our front arm is now lifted towards the sky. Reminder to keep that front knee bent. If you're noticing that you straightened it a little bit in the meantime, go ahead and refine that bend. Holding here, taking an inhale, and as we exhale, cartwheel those hands. Take your optional vinyasa here. Meeting in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, looking between the hands, walking or hopping the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. This time I am not going to forget chair pose. We inhale, lift those hands, Utkatasana. Exhale, mountain. Awesome job. Okay, grab water. We have one more time through this, and then again, we're going to kind of start to bring ourselves into cool down. So this next time through, you're going to see some balance poses. Let's practice one thing really quickly. You can use this as a stretch, as a preparation for this next, our last posture, I guess our peak pose. And that is going to be eagle arms, okay? So what I want you to practice is we're going to take our left arm, bring it across our body, little like 90-degree angle at our elbow. Our right arm here is going to come over that arm, same kind of thing, 90 degrees. And if this is good, if this feels good for you, enough stretch, leave it there. If we'd like to, though, we can find a double bind where we now have our hands bound. So feel what this feels like. Lift your elbows up, and we should feel a stretch through our arms from that rear delt all the way through. Let's take that on the other side. So we bring right arm over, switch whichever arm was over. I might have the same ones, I'm not too sure, but there will be instruction once we get to that pose. So these would be called eagle arms. If you've already predicted it, eagle is our peak pose today, and we'll see it in a moment, but I needed us to practice that just so you feel ready when the time comes. When you're ready, find yourself in mountain pose. One more time through, we're feeling warm. We inhale those arms up overhead. Maybe take a slight back bend here. Exhale. Ooh, almost forgot chair pose. Sit back into your heels. It's funny how I always want to skip that pose. Inhale here at the top, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, take your vinyasa, hands plant to the mat. We walk or hop those feet. Inhale, shift the weight forward. And exhale, slowly lower, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Once again, we're gonna lift the right leg high this time. So taking that right leg, lifting it into the air, and then bringing that knee through, stepping into warrior one, lifting tall. Front knee is bent. We inhale here. Exhale, open up warrior two. Shift that front foot over a little bit. Find that strong warrior two posture. When you're ready, on that next inhale, placing our forearm to our thigh, finding our extended side angle. Remember, option to use a block or a book and extend both of those arms, finding a deeper pose. I encourage you to meet your body where it's at today. So if your body's not feeling that, don't do it. Do what feels good. Inhale here. On that exhale, we're gonna cartwheel our hands, moving ourselves into reverse warrior. Opening that chest up to the sky. Finding that bend in our front knee. Take an inhale here and an exhale here. On your next inhale, we're gonna find warrior one. So coming out of that reverse warrior, straightening the spine, ensuring our feet are in the right placement, heel to heel, and we're gonna center ourselves warrior one. So this is where we get into our balance poses for today. First pose is gonna be tree pose. So we've got two, bonus. What we're gonna do is you're gonna start to shift your weight into this front leg. So this should be your right leg probably. We're gonna tiptoe our back foot so that I can put some more weight here. Now you have a few options with tree pose. If you know how to get there right here. You can do it on your own, but if you want some guidance, option number one is we have our foot here. It's a little kickstand for us. Option number two, we actually lift that foot off the ground. So we meet it to our calf, that nice big part of our calf. Hands can either be at our hips, in heart center, or we can grow our hands like tree branches. Last option for our leg would be to bring it above the knee. And here you really want to think about pressing that knee into our thigh into our knee. Make sure that that foot is not on your knee to protect your joint. So find whatever tree pose works for you today. Find your balance and take some deep breaths here. Okay, so this is where the challenge comes. When you're ready, you're gonna slowly bring that knee down. If you need a moment, place that foot on the floor. If not, we're gonna find eagle pose. So our left leg is gonna come over our right. So this would be our single bind, one loop. If you can, what you do is you take your foot and loop it around your calf. So you'll notice this is a challenge for me. If it's a challenge for you too, that's totally okay. One hook is totally fine. So our left is over our right, which means our right arm is gonna be over our left. So find those eagle arms, and then when you're ready, you can slowly sit back into the heels. So this is a true challenge here. And if this is not in your practice today, I encourage you to unravel a little bit, find that one cross, maybe even use your foot as a kickstand here, and just take the single bind with arms. So meet yourself wherever your body is today. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly unwind each. Whew. When you're ready, take that leg back, warrior one. That is the peak on that side. Inhale at the top. Exhale, frame your foot with your hands. Take that optional vinyasa, and we'll meet in downward facing dog. Whew. Once we are here, we lift the left leg high. Last time through. Inhale, and then as we exhale, we bring that leg through. Inhale to warrior one. Heel to heel alignment here. 45-degree angle with that foot. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, open up, warrior two. We bend into that front leg, making sure our knee does not go over our toe. Lift tall. Good. Inhale here. Exhale, extended side angle. You know your options. Choose what works best for you. Inhale here. As we exhale, lift. Find reverse warrior. Open that chest up to the sky. Front knee is bent, nice and strong. We're probably feeling it in our knees or our thighs now. When you're ready, let's find warrior one. So, shifting that back foot, pivoting to 45. We recenter our hips. Hands come up if it's comfortable. This is where we're going to find our balance poses on the other side. So now our left foot's grounded. We drop those arms for a moment. Tiptoe that back foot. If you know how to get into tree pose from here, do so. If you'd like some guidance, remember 3 options. Kickstand at our calf, or we bring the foot above our knee. And again, the importance of meeting your body where it's at today is huge. Hands can be on our hips, on our heart center, or we grow our tree branches nice and tall. I would recommend choosing whatever you chose on the other side, evening yourself out, taking some deep breaths here. Balance poses are a great example of a time to find presence because we're not moving, we're having to sit still, and that can be an easy time for thoughts to come into our head. So find yourself on the mat, not letting those thoughts creep in. Meet yourself where you're at. Come back to your breath. When you're ready, we're going to find eagle pose. So slowly coming out of our tree pose. Remember, single bind. We have our kickstand here for support, or we can lift. And then if we want that double bind, we tuck the foot behind the calf. You might notice yours goes farther than mine. That's awesome. This time, right's over left. So we're going to take left arm over right. And again, single bind, or we have that double bind. So find what works for you. You may need to restart like me. It can be helpful to focus on something near you that is stationary. So actually closing our eyes here makes it more challenging for us. But focusing on something stationary can help us. And hopefully you're not focusing on me right now, because I am not very stationary. We're going to hold for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly unwind, warrior 1. Good. So if you need to find a little movement in that leg that was stationary, meet me in warrior 1. Whew. Awesome, awesome job. Good. We have one last vinyasa flow of our day. Inhaling at the top. Exhale, frame those feet. Step the foot back. Inhale, shift that weight forward. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. One more breath here. When you're ready, bend those knees, look towards the hands, walk or hop the feet to meet the hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Last chair pose. Inhale, lift into our chair pose, Utkatasana, and exhale, stand to mountain. Beautiful, beautiful job. Go ahead and grab some water if you have it near you. We are going to start bringing ourselves down towards the mat into our final relaxation. So we're going to meet in mountain pose, but grab some water, reset yourself. If you need to take that moment to recenter, I encourage you to do so. All right, so I am meeting you in mountain pose. And option, we're going to take a yogi squat. So if you know what that is and you want to use a block or a blanket behind you for support, you can do so. So you're in Tadasana, mountain pose. We're going to space those feet about hip distance, maybe a little bit wider, and our toes can come out to a little bit of an angle here. So we're going to inhale our arms high, exhale, bring our hands to heart center, and then we're going to sit back into our heels, finding our yogi squat here. So if this is uncomfortable for you, or you need a little bit of support, that's where our block, blanket, pillow, anything can come in handy. We're going to be here for just a moment, so we are going to transition out pretty quickly. This would be our yogi squat, and from here, we're actually going to challenge ourselves into a balance pose. So we're going to try crow today, and I encourage you, especially in your homes, to only take your body as far as you feel comfortable, okay? So from here, I'll face this side. We are going to practice getting into this pose. So you'll notice I'm now on my toes, my heels are lifted, and my hands are going to be on the mat in front of me. So right here, my knees are hugging into my upper arms, and that's what I encourage you to do here. Option number one, and this is our safe option. I encourage you to use it if you don't feel comfortable balancing on your forearms today. You're going to lean forward, looking in front. So I'm looking right about here. I'm not looking right between my hands. And I'm just going to bring some weight into my palms. So if you can feel that, and this feels like enough, I encourage you to stay there. And that's where you get today. That's totally fine. Next option is going to be we place that weight forward, and maybe we lift a foot. Again, we place it down, we lift our next foot. If that's good for you, stay there. Next option, we're really going to need to use that pressure between our knees, the inner leg or knee, and that outer upper arm. We're going to press them into each other, and slowly we lift. So this is called crow pose. We can find that balance. That's another option, okay? Last option is a little bit more advanced, but we're going to do a similar thing, but this time we're going to place our knees on top of our triceps here, okay? So we do so, again, looking forward to the top of our mat, and then we slowly lift, okay? So I'm going to give us about a minute, and I'm going to try it here by myself. It's not going to be perfect, but I want you to do the same, okay? So find what works for you. Biggest tip I can give you is look forward. So look to the top of your mat. Don't look right between your hands. If you look down there, that's where you're going to go. So practice this on your own. Find what works for you. And again, maybe you don't lift a foot the whole time. That's totally okay. If you keep practicing, and maybe you watch this video over and over again, one day we will get there. So again, this is called crow pose. Maybe you can hold it for a second. Maybe you can hold it for a minute. That's awesome. Take about 30 more seconds and practice. Awesome. Once you're ready, once you're all practiced out, we can return to that another day. We're going to find tabletop. So resting those knees towards the ground. Let's find puppy dog pose one more time. Stretch those arms out. So if we remember, our hands come forward towards the front of our mat, our hips stay raised, and our forehead can come to the ground. So this is where we really feel that stretch through the arm, through our side body, those lat muscles. And we're going to start to bring our heart rate down. If your breathing was moving a little bit quicker, we're going to start to slow that down. Go ahead and find child's pose. So sit back on those heels. Knees can either be close together or separated. If they're closer together, we'll find more of a stretch in our lower back. If they're farther apart, we might find more of a stretch in our hips. So take what you need. From here, let's deepen our stretching a little bit. We're going to practice pigeon pose. So this is a very deep hip stretch. Sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable, but it's one of those where when you leave here, you're going to be feeling much better than when you walked in. So we're going to find a downward dog. One more, maybe two more for the rest of class. Find your downward dog. When you're ready, you're going to lift one leg high. If you want, for a moment, you can open that hip. So bending at the knee here, maybe taking a couple circles on the ceiling, maybe rolling that ankle. And when you're ready, recenter. You're going to bring your whatever knee is driving forward to that same wrist. So for me, it's my left knee to my left wrist. And from here, we're going to sit into this a little bit. So you'll notice if maybe you're not as flexible like me, you'll see a gap right here. So if you have your blanket or some type of prop to place under that hip, that is ideal. Gives us a little bit of support. If you can take this farther, the goal would be to have your shin parallel with the front of your mat. So from here, we sit up tall, we look back behind us, make sure that back leg is straight behind, and we'll lift and inhale. As we exhale, you have the option to lower down. This would be called sleeping pigeon. And we can either place those elbows on the ground or we can place our head on the ground, whatever feels best for you. But what you want to feel in this stretch is your leg that is bent. You're going to feel a nice deep stretch through that hip. And that's what we want to focus on here. This is one of those poses where we want to find some comfort in the discomfort. So we don't want to press or strain too much that we're injuring ourselves. But if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, that is okay. And I encourage you, every time you inhale and exhale, with each exhale, you find yourself a little bit deeper in that stretch. So we'll hold here for about 5-ish more breaths. When you're ready, slowly lifting out of that pose. So if you had a block under your hip, you can lift and remove that block for a moment. And from here, we're going to tuck that back toe from the leg that's straight, tuck it, and find our 3-legged dog. One more time, real quick, and then we'll lower. Other side, lift that leg into the air. Open that hip for a moment, circles on the ceiling if you'd like, or roll that ankle. Recenter, and then bring knee to wrist. Pigeon pose on our other side. So take a moment, maybe manually manipulate those limbs where you need them to be. Again, nothing that is straining us. Placing our prop if we need it under our hip. Lifting tall, making sure that leg behind us is straight. And if it feels comfortable, exhale and lower towards the mat. Taking about 4 more breaths here. Finding that comfort in the discomfort. Remember, each exhale, we sink deeper and deeper into that stretch. When you're ready, slowly placing those hands on the mat, lifting ourselves up tall. If you had a prop, removing it from your hip, and then just letting ourselves sit onto that hip of the bent leg, finding ourselves swinging those legs around. We're going to find a supine pose, so laying on our backs in order to bring us into our final relaxation today. So when you're ready, slowly lower, curl that back, lower safely to the mat. And from here, we're going to tuck both knees into our chest, just rocking back and forth. Give your lower back a little bit of a massage. You worked hard today. You deserve it. And when you're ready, let's keep that right leg tucked in. The left leg extends out. We're going to find a supine twist. So we'll take our right leg, twist it over to the left side of our mat. So we'll find this twist here. Arms can come out to a T. So right here, we want both shoulders on the ground, planted firmly. and we're going to look towards our right arm. As we reach closer and closer to our final relaxation, you can maybe start to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Taking one more deep breath here. And as you exhale, slowly untwisting, give that right leg one more hug, and then switch, hugging the left leg in this time, letting the right leg extend out. And when you're ready, let's find that supine twist. So we'll take the left leg, bring it towards the right side of our body, and arms can tee out. This time we look towards the left arm. Again, maybe closing the eyes. One more breath here, inhale. And as we exhale, we slowly untwist. Give that left leg one more hug. Maybe bring the right leg in. Give them both one more hug. Option 2, take happy baby. So if you'd like to just find your corpse pose or final relaxation pose, you can. If you'd like to though, grab the outsides of our feet. We find that open stretch through our hips. Soles of our feet are up towards the sky. Maybe rocking side to side. One last pose here before we find our final relaxation. And when you feel good about it, you can slowly lower those legs to the mat. So now we're lying flat on our backs here. Maybe taking just a moment to recenter. This is our last opportunity to really connect with our bodies, with our minds, finding ourselves on our mat today, being present in the moment. Breathing in and out through the nose naturally, palms face up towards the sky, maybe feet are splayed out. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Taking a few more deep breaths here. When you're ready, start to bring some movement into our bodies. So maybe wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, still lying on your back. And maybe take a good morning stretch, reach those arms overhead, point the feet in the opposite direction, take a big stretch there. And when you're ready, you're going to turn to your favorite side, or maybe the side that's facing the camera, and slowly lift yourself up into a seated position where you'll see me at. We're going to end in easy pose exactly how we started. So again, if you need that prop to sit on for just a few moments, you can grab it here. Maybe taking a second to just do a body scan and of your physical body, but also your mind, thinking about how you're feeling right now and how you're feeling leaving class today. Hopefully feeling better than when you started class. I'd like to end our class today with one of my favorite Sanskrit sayings, and so I'm going to read it to you because I don't have it memorized. It is Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, and what that means or translates to is, may all beings everywhere be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom of all. So hopefully you can take that ending message and bring it forth towards the rest of your day, the rest of your week, maybe even the rest of your month. Let's go ahead and end class by bringing our hands to heart center. And I will end with saying that the light in me honors and respects the light in each and every one of you. Thank you for being here in class today. Let's go ahead and bow our foreheads to our hands to seal our practice. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here. Again, my name is Jackie. This was Vinyāsa Yoga 60. I will be teaching this class every Monday during Summer B. So if you're watching this during Summer B, feel free to join me next week. Otherwise, check out a bunch of our other rec sports virtual classes that we're offering every week. We also have a survey in the description of this class today. So if you wouldn't mind clicking that link, filling the survey out for us to provide us some feedback on how we can continue to improve these services for you all, that would be so helpful.